Trump skips GOP debate to deliver economic nationalism speech at non-union plant. 2 minutes read. In an effort to court blue-collar workers, former President Donald Trump traveled to Michigan Wednesday to deliver a speech aimed at courting the support of auto workers at a time when their largest union is on strike. Below are your comments. He did a similar thing in Indiana not long after. In both cases the plants closed and moved to Mexico while the workers. So Trump went to Michigan and had a rally at a non-union plant. Marsha's husband, it is ironic that Trump is visiting blue-collar workers regardless of unionization or not. Trump would mock. So Trump says he doesn't see a VP in the debaters. Well, I don't see presidential material in him either. That's typical. His play for working-class voters is going to a place that treats workers poorly. People need to think about what they support and how their decisions help lead to their circumstance. Next news. Few striking auto workers show up for Trump's speech at a non-union factory. 6 minutes read. As the second Republican debate kicks off in California, Trump is skipping out to address auto workers in Michigan. Few striking UAW members are expected to join. Below are your comments. Trump's instructions to the camera crew will be to expand the size of the crowd 100-fold. Too bad he can't recreate the loaves of bread and fishes story and feed the whole nation. No one wants a president who, when he lost the election for a second term, destroyed our capital. No one in the right mind would vote for Trump. The polls can show him leading now because they only poll his Trumpers and not everyone, but come election day, if he is not behind bars, he will again lose to Paul Sheridan, who came from nearby Bloomfield Hills to see Trump again. And he's always very good. And he speaks the truth. I'm thinking he currently holds the record for the most lies told by a human being in modern times. Trump will look good in an orange jumpsuit. Was Trump talking to himself since there were very few people? Next news. Donald Duck, Chris Christie slams Trump for skipping GOP debates. 2 minutes read. Former New Jersey Gov. Chris Christie accused former President Trump of being afraid to defend his record against fellow Republican opponents and ducking them. Below are your comments. Well, what do you know? Surprise, surprise, surprise. A Republican politician finally admitted what many of us have known for a long time. The Donald administration increased the debt in 4 years by $7.8 trillion. Yet the Republican-controlled House is blaming the Democrats for the debt inc. Sure, Trump showed up to court auto workers at a non-union shop. That is real cowardice and someone who doesn't actually side with workers, but with management. I think Christie might be right. Maybe Trump is so concerned about his legal issues that he fears he might goof in the debate and say something that would sink his ship. I would find that very pleasant since I would not vote for him again. He is a big disappointment. Trump made a campaign pledge to end offshoring and save American manufacturing during Trump's Inco.M patent administration. Next news. Trump's GOP rivals say he's unelectable. Polls disagree. 7 minutes read. Republicans' debate stage arguments that Trump will lose to Biden aren't bearing out in the polls. Below are your comments. The margin of error is far greater than 1.5%. Likely in the 5 to 6% range, at least. Depends on sample size, methodology, participant willingness, and many other things. A 1.5% delta is basically a dead heat and more likely will result in a wider real-world margin. Basically, this tells us nothing. Trump really cannot beat Biden. However, the oil companies along with the Saudis can. Today oil is just under $94 per barrel. The Saudis cut production to try to get it above $81 so they could make 25% more profit from less product. In other words, voting against Biden is what the people who are googie. Here's how most polls work. Pollster calls and asks who are you voting for? Republicans tend to answer. Democrats tend to hang up the line or not answer weird numbers. In addition to, most polls are taken via landlines or mail. I can bet my bottom dollar, more repubs have landlines and reply to T. Next news. Donald Trump's lawyers ask judge to clarify fraud ruling's impact on ex-president's business. 5 minutes. Read. Does a judge's fraud finding spell the end of Donald Trump's real estate empire? Judge Arthur Engoron, who will preside over a non-jury trial next week on issues remaining in New York. Attorney General Letitia James's civil lawsuit against Trump, acknowledged that the contours of T. He case have changed significantly, but declined to elaborate on the real-world impacts of his fraud finding. Engoron, in a blistering 35-page opinion Tuesday, found that Trump and his company, the Trump Organi. Zat. Below are your comments. All corporations agree to be a positive contributor to the community they do business in as a conduit of receiving the benefits of incorporation. It's time to start revoking some corporate charters. John Oliver's Trump real estate story. Why do I think Trump is a liar? My father is one of the most honest and honorable men I have ever encountered. A 28-year Navy captain, charitable giver, coacher of every soccer and Little League team. We often disagree on politics, but I cannot fault his integrity. Now who is going to pay Trump's legal fees? The RNC? Donors? His business should stop paying any personal expenses. Please wait a moment. Trump and his kids used their business to shield their homes from NY property taxes. So their homes are in the LLC. Sell them first. Then work to sell the income producers as they hold any value Trump actually owned. The rest are losers. Liquidate, and do it quickly. Time for the delays to end. Please wait a moment. Next news. Ruling against Trump cuts to the heart of his identity. 5 minutes read. Nearly every aspect of Donald Trump's life and career has been under scrutiny from the justice system over the past several years, leaving him under criminal indictment in 4 jurisdictions and being held to account in a civil case for what a jury found to be sexual abuse that he committed decades ago. But a ruling Tuesday by a New York state judge that Trump had committed fraud by inflating the value of his real estate holdings went to the heart of the identity that made him a national figure. Below are your comments. Wait, so Trump said he repaid bank loans in full and that the financial instos made money. It just seems he didn't, Ray. In 2014, the Deutsche Bank loan audit found Trump's net worth was $686 million. While that's 150 times greater than mine, it's not the $2 billion he was touting. And Trump's exaggeration kept getting worse. The one thing he always demanded was that no one ever discuss his real, actual worth. As long as no one spoke up or contradicted, he could continue to claim he was rich beyond the dreams of avarice. The truth is he has no liquid assets, and has been living on credit created by loans taken out against ... I keep hearing Republicans babble about there being a 2-tier justice system. Turns out they're right. Anyone else that cheated as many people as Trump has, who committed as much fraud and who behaved like him would have been behind bars a long time ago. Next news. Republican rivals slam Trump for missing the second Republican debate. 8 minutes read. At the second Republican debate, with Donald Trump skipping out again, the rest of the 2024 hopefuls are fighting each other for a shot at his title. Below are your comments. Ease up, Rhonda. So far tonight, midway, Pence continues to be the most solid debater, despite terrible jokes and literally no shot. Haley has done okay, not as good as last time. Christie is par for the course. Burnham shouldn't be there. Tim Scott with the best moment, putting Vivek on blast and embarrassing him. Trump's people won't let him debate, he's too dumb. He doesn't even know who he's running against. He thinks it's Obama. Plus, be sure and have your ID ready to buy a loaf of bread. We must all be prepared for World War II, again. They would tear him up in a debate. Maybe Trump's bone spurs acted up again, this time in his head. This is the true reason Trump is bailing on the debates. He's exhibiting signs of dementia and his cult members can't eat. Next news. Ron DeSantis immediately swipes at missing in action, Trump in GOP debate. 1 minute read. He should be on this stage tonight, said Florida's Republican governor, who has long been reluctant to attack the former president. Below are your comments. Is he a robot? Is he Disney animatronics that escaped? How can you run a country if you do not know how to form a smile? Can't stand DeSantis, but he's right about Trump. Mr. Please wait a moment. Trump has more important things. He's making sure his orange hair will match the orange prison jumpsuit perfectly. Why? Trump can golf until the convention and still get the nomination. Next news. What to look for in the second Republican presidential debate. 6 minutes read. No one has emerged as a major Republican alternative to Trump, who holds a commanding polling lead. The central question of the GOP race, increasingly, is whether Trump will even face a credible challenge at all. Below are your comments. If any of these people beside Chris Christie really want to be president, they got to take Trump out. They can't run around him. They can't have his base and beat him too. They need to create their own base. They either have what it takes to take charge and lead or they don't. Please will someone explain to me who this rep. Base is, who is backing Trump, for the candidate of the party and already has a demanding lead as THEY say. Did they already have an election in the back room? Did they pay off voters in the back rooms to vote for Trump? Did they just control the me? A big goose egg, zilch, zero will be learned. I'm going to watch my cousin Vinny for the 100th time. They need to change the primary rules. If you don't participate in the debate, your name does not go on the primary ballot. It's just not worth watching if you can't see the frontrunner present his thoughts on the issues and interact with the other candidates. In other words, it just won't be funny. My fellow Republicans are making huge mistakes. Next news. Judge denies Trump's request for her recusal in January 6 case. 2 minutes read. Judge Tanya Chutkan denied former President Donald Trump's request to recuse herself. Below are your comments. Why should she recuse herself just because Trump doesn't like her and fears she will do her job? This man is degrading and trying really hard to destroy this country, any way he can. I see a new era akin to Biff in Back to the Future. Biden has exactly 0 federal, criminal, or civil cases outstanding. Let that sink in. Why didn't Trump's lawyers file a peremptory challenge? Next news. U.S. judge rejects Trump's request to step down from criminal election trial. 2 minutes read. Washington. Reuters. A judge on Wednesday rejected Donald Trump's request that she step aside from the federal case accusing him of illegally attempting to overturn the results of the 2020 presidential election, rejecting arguments that she has shown bias against him. U.S. District Judge Tanya Chutkan in Washington ruled that her prior remarks in court while sentencing Pei Opal, convicted of storming the Capitol during a riot by supporters of the former president, did not require that she recuse H. Below are your comments. For all the Trump supporters, two facts that are undeniable. First, by taking the fifth in a civil case, which this is, the answer inferred is whatever the prosecution is charging Trump with. That's the law. Second, the legal documents that he submitted to the court, banks and municipalities are F. Alito and Thomas won't recuse themselves. Why should this judge? If we allow Trump to have his way, he would want every judge to recuse themselves from every case he has before the courts. Stop the delays and start the trials. 5 weeks ago, he stated he would provide irrefutable evidence of his innocence. It is just another lie, and he is hoping America will forget about it, except for his losers. He loves to rant and rave, but when he has finished, he just walks off stage and refute. Next news. Republican debate highlights. Donald Duck, UAW strike and a government shutdown fight. 28 minutes read. Tim Scott showed a feistier side at the second presidential debate, while Chris Christie jabbed Donald Trump as Donald Duck. Below are your comments. Only one question should be asked of all of them. If you think Donald Trump was such a great president, why are you running against him? They all have one thing in common. None of them will ever become president of the USA. I have 2 questions for each of them. No. Please wait a moment. They should have came out swinging at the beginning. They all pretty much have submitted to him now. It's going to come down to that anyway, fighting against him. If they had attacked him at the first debate, he would be showing up for this one so he could attack them back and then they could expose. I'm independent and have voted for both parties in prior presidential races. Yes, I'm just one out of millions, but. Next news. Judge leaves Trump asset sales up in the air after fraud ruling. 2 minutes read. The New York judge who found Donald Trump liable for fraud on Wednesday stopped short of addressing whether his scathing decision would force the former U.S. president to sell his prized real estate. Justice Arthur Engoron at a hearing on Wednesday was asked by Trump's lawyer Christopher Kise about what he intended a day earlier by ordering the cancellation of business certificates that let some of Trump's businesses operate. Engoron's ruling could force Trump to give up control to a receiver. Below are your comments. The courts have been around the block before with Trump. In some way, I can understand why Trump said the lenders had the responsibility to check out the valuations. Believing and trusting Trump is a dangerous action. I lost 2 good friends that would not take care to avoid becoming infected by COVID and lost their lives who believed Trump when he said it. But Hunter I love when MAGA invokes Hunter and/or JB as a shield of sorts due to their emotional discomfort and rising angst. They seem to think that Hunter and Joe are mastermind criminals. And why? Because Jim Jordan said so. And because RW Media says so. Next news. A judge found Trump committed fraud in building his real estate empire. Here's what happens next. 6. Min read. A judge's ruling that Donald Trump committed fraud as he built his real estate empire tarnishes the former president's image as a business titan and could strip him of his authority to make major decisions about the future of his marquee properties in his home state. The Tuesday order rescinds business licenses as punishment, which could make it difficult or impossible for some of Trump's companies to operate in New York if not successfully appealed. Trump and his company massively overvalued. Below are your comments. Looking around at my neighbors, people I meet on a daily basis, citizens with whom I shish. Liquidation and forfeiture, that is what is next. He is liable for the fines and taxes and cannot do business ever again in NY. Want to buy a prior Trump property? The Trump crime family is like peeling an onion. As each layer comes off, more and more corruption is revealed. Think of all the homeless people could be housed in Trump Tower. How many could be fed, for how long? If that $250 million fine was collected. Any other ideas? Did we really need a judge to tell us Trump is a scammer? Any high school student could tell that. It is only people voting for him who can't because they never went beyond elementary school. They are the ones who are still waiting for a check from Mexico for their wall. Next news. GOP debate stage down to just one candidate who wouldn't back a convicted Trump. 3 minutes read. The second GOP primary debate is set for Wednesday with fewer participants and still without the front runner, the coup attempting Trump. Below are your comments. Looking around at my neighbors, people I meet on a daily basis, citizens with whom I share. I suppose that this tells you all you need to know about these people. They don't care about their own integrity as long as it doesn't hurt them within Trump world. That, my friends, is not leadership, and that makes this debate a sham. The only person worth listening to is Christie. I remember so many people saying I'm voting for Trump because he's a businessman and we need him to run the country like he runs his businesses. Laugh out loud. I think the only reason Trump is backing off from the debates is Christie. The others have no spine to stand up to him. Just one person is scaring him so much he does not even want to be on the stage. Just imagine what would happen if the others are ready for him. Here's some advice for the GOP wannabes. You might not win if you attack Trump, but you certainly won't if you don't. Next news. United Auto Workers chief blasts Trump ahead of Michigan visit. 3 minutes read. United Auto Workers President Sinn Féin said he doesn't plan to meet with Donald Trump when he visits a manufacturing plant in Michigan as auto workers strike. Below are your comments. The board reversed several key Obama-era rulings that made it easier for small unions to organize. Trying to get rid of tears? What bleep does a worker have if one starting tomorrow is paid anywhere close to one that has been there 5 years? I'm sure Trump doesn't support unions, but he also doesn't support forcing EVs on people and unrealistic mileage standards, which are the threats to auto workers' jobs. I have been in the IAM, Teamsters, Steelworkers unions. And I was for them, especially Teamsters. They did me well when I worked in shops they represent. But you cannot trust their leaders, they will sell you out in the end to save themselves. So as far as Mr. UAW backing Biden, watch your back. What is Féin net worth? What's his house look like and what does he drive? Notice he mentioned billionaires, not multi-millionaire. Next news. Trump to woo blue-collar Michigan workers after Biden's stop at UAW strike. 3 minutes read. Former president will address 500 workers in key election state in attempt to upstage Biden's appeal to auto workers on Tuesday. Below are your comments. Carbon emissions from energy consumption dropped 10%. The Republican who never pays his help is going after UAW worker votes by getting in front of them. Explain how he is a victim. Throw in some fear over exporting of jobs and how their leadership doesn't care about them, and check off another successful campaign stop. That will be interesting. He's going to stand up there and within 30 seconds, will launch into his victimhood diatribe. UAW attendees will hopefully realize this billionaire elitist could care less about them. Please subscribe to my channel. And if you like it, please thumbs up.